Well, you know, I appreciate your concern. I do. And the truth is, I could sit here all day with you. We could go over this file, do what I could to give you a fair chance. But it wouldn't matter, would it? See, the problem is, you're one of those, aren't you? One of what? Those, what do they call them? Those, deplorables.
Ah, sí. Vete a la mierda.
Fuck you. Now, you see, I've been a resident of this county, Cunningham County, for a very, very long time. I was born and raised here, as a matter of fact. I've seen this community at its best. I've seen it at its worst. I know the good. And I can fucking smell the bad on you. You know, if I could, I'd stay away from those things myself. Electromagnetic fields and shit, bad for your health. All right, with tax, we're looking at $78 even. You want a bag? All right, how much you got?
All I have is $23. This is not gonna work. I'm sorry, man.
No, wait. Are you good for it?
Seriously? Yes. Yeah, I am. There's a couple of things I need to get lined out first, and then I will absolutely come and pay you back.
That's what they all say. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 6 months to pay the rest back, okay? Just leave your name and phone number right there.
Yeah.
Okay, now, get the hell out of here, kid. Enjoy your new computer. Laura, if you're marrying this man for his money, which I am increasingly beginning to suspect, I would ask you to reconsider. I'm sure the plastic bag industry, while ruining the earth, is very profitable. But if you wanted to reconsider this whole thing, I can assure you will be well taken care of.
I am not marrying Harry for his money. I am marrying Harry because I love him.
Well, I am not going to sign this. I don't want to see that man ever again. If you marry him, I surely will have to see that dopey face latched onto you like a parasite in his ugly hat.
Oh, be nice.
Why doesn't he like me? Everybody likes me. I'm a likable fella.
I mean, just look at him. I've never seen a more pathetic man in my life.
Oh my goodness. That was so unprofessional. I'm sorry. Please don't sue.
I hope you die before me, so I can drain your corpse. And me? Well, I'm just hungry.
How would you like to have lunch with me?
Really?
Yes, really. Have lunch with me.
Well, okay. I mean, wait a minute. Really?
Yes, really. Let's go have lunch. Come on.
Ah, shit. Very nice to meet you, man.
Well, you can call me Ronnie. Let's go.
Okie dokie, Ronnie.
Thank you for joining us on the Downing Cut. Today, my next guest was born in the Bronx to Holocaust survivor parents. His journey took him from working at the Burroughs Corporation to studying acting under legends like Stella Adler and Herbert Berghoff. Off from Broadway to New York to theater and independent films in Los Angeles, Ira's passion for performance shaped his extraordinary path. Welcome, Ira Katz, to the Downing Cut. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me here.
I'm excited. I mean, we hear the name Stella Adler all the
Uh-huh.
time, and you actually
Yeah.
studied with her. I mean, that's pretty fascinating.
I took actually what I took was something called a script interpretation class with her,
Yeah.
which is a lot of people love that class because it basically tears down scripts, outlines things that you got to know. Um, it's interesting in that class. It was a big class. I've studied with many other people, but with her, that's the class that I took. It was a big class up in her building somewhere, and some of the people in it, like Candice Bergen, was in the class, and I had no idea. What was her name? Geez, I forgot her name. She was a model actress, but I was sitting right next to her. I didn't even know who she was. She
Yeah.
was just like, God, how could I forget? She had space in between her teeth. It's probably too far away for your age. I don't know.
Is it her name Kathy? Kathy something?
No, I knew her name about a second ago, and I dropped it just as I was about to do it. But it was what was interesting. There were many people that went through, but there was like 150 people in that particular class, and it was all about learning how to dissect a script. And she was an interesting personality, also, by the way,
Yeah.
Stella.
Was she intense?
Yes, she was. I walked in. First of all, everybody was sitting down. She walked in, and it was like you had to stand up and basically wait for her. And it was, she was a grande dame, is I guess what it was.
Wow.
But she knew her stuff. She really knew her stuff, and it was a good class. I mean, Herbert Berghoff was well known with HB Studios, and Uta Hagen. He was married to Uta Hagen. Which both of them were at HB Studios. I studied with him. I studied with William Hickey. I don't know if you know who he is, Bill Hickey. He was a character actor. He was wonderful. He was. Did you ever see Prizzi's Honor? Okay, he'd done so many things. Um, in Prizzi's Honor, for example, because he had a sense of humor. He came up as a kid. He was a kid actor in the first place. So when he played this, he was older, and it was a thing. Prizzi's Honor was Jack Nicholson, and they were gangsters, and William Hickey was playing a don, you know, and he was this thin character, and he used to smoke, and he was he talked like this, and he said, "You want a cookie?" You know, He's a wonderful, wonderful character. In fact, when I studied with him, after class we used to go down to, I think it was the White Horse Tavern, famous little bar, and we'd sit around listen to him tell stories on and on and on. The amazing stories. Talk about Tennessee Williams, and he talked about James Dean, because he and James Dean apparently were going up for the same kind of roles at the time,
Oh wow. That's
and
competition.
it was just. And I think James Dean. There was a part on Broadway that James Dean was doing, and he came up to Bill and he said, "Oh, you can have the part. I'm leaving." This because he was leaving the production. And that's when he was going out to film. I think it was East of Eden.
Wow.
But anyway, Bill was great. Herbert Berghoff was a character. They're all wonderful characters. Stella, we're all characters. I mean, we all have our. But any amazing actor has its wonderful strangeness. So.
Oh yeah. What? So Ira, what from the very beginning? What caused you to go into the journey of acting? What was that spark?
It's a good question. I'm glad you asked. um, I, you know, I think there was a part of me that always wanted to do it, and I didn't do it till later because I was very scared of doing that. I was pretty much. I'm an introvert mostly. I'm not really an extrovert.
I can relate.
What's that?
I'm an introvert as well.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but when you get on stage, you can do anything. I don't know why that is. I couldn't tell you that, but it is, and it was a chance to be and express I remember I told my mother that why she says, "Why are you going to take some acting class?" I said, "Well, I need to open myself up." I didn't tell the whole story that I wanted to try it out and really do it. And I was working for Burroughs Corporation, a computer corporation, which
Ah,
was like time. I was into all electronic stuff, and I was a technician. And I didn't like what I was doing. I would get stomach aches and things, and I didn't like it. And I said, I got to try this, and I started doing that. And it was almost it's almost therapy at the time.
yeah.
So I think that's how it happened. And then I figured I had moved into Manhattan. My parents, we lived in a place called Rockland County, Spring Valley, New York. It was about 45 minutes north of Manhattan by that time. Born in the Bronx, but then we moved out when I was about third grade. And then at some point, uh, I started taking classes. I started a community college class I taught, Introduction to Theater. And I got to act. And I was scared. I was nervous. And I thought, that's how you got to do it. All the nerves give you the energy, makes you an actor. But it took a while to get over that. But that's when I started going into New York, back to Manhattan, taking classes at
Wow.
HB Studio. And eventually started doing plays in New York. And I think, it's just, it would scare the hell out of me. And then eventually I got calmer and calmer. But I don't know why I kept going, but I did.
Wait, what were you doing at Burroughs Corporation? You said you're working. Were you building computers?
I was a technician, electronic technician, worked on, I don't know how much you know about old style computers and stuff. Once upon a time, they had these large scale computers, okay? They were, the amount of storage was ridiculous compared to what it is now. Back then, they also had what they call the 80 pin cards. I forget, 80 cards. They were these cards, right? And they had cutouts, and that's how you programmed the computer. You cut it out. Somebody would type in the particular code thing for each one of those, and you had to have a stack of cards. It'd go into this card reader and go like that, and eventually it'd be stored in the computer to program it. And the computers that we worked on, they were like, they're up to I don't know, 6 feet, 7 feet. You didn't have those tiny computers yet. They weren't
Yeah.
there yet. And they had the storage where they had real, like these big tapes they had these discs, they were like a bunch of records put together, discs. And when we worked on these things, you take a whole card out of it and you extend it and you work on it that way. And also the room had to be air conditioned. Especially I worked in like around banks. We had the things because they would read the checks and things like that and keep track of everything. So the floors were raised about, I guess, a couple of feet, or is it not a couple of them, foot and a half maybe. And they have tiles put down for a second floor, and they run the cables underneath the floor. This has nothing to do with acting, but hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
then
it.
all these cables, and then and the rooms have to be kept air conditioned all the time. It
Were you,
was a whole different.
were you constantly wearing a jacket just so you stay warm?
Sometimes, but not always. See, we
Yeah.
were working on stuff, so worked on these check readers. You ever see those? I don't know if you've ever seen it. I don't know if you even do they even have them. These huge. They were like, I don't know, 20 feet long sometimes, where they read it at the beginning. They read the check and they sort it out. They would check sorters. And they put it to different places. They go and flap it through and everything.
Wow.
It's a whole different world. And
Yeah.
the amount of I think I was reading about something about. I think I saw a picture of something. They showed this humongous. I think it weighed almost a ton or something. This hard drive space from way back, and I think it was holding 15 megabytes or something, and it was just insane. And it's the same thing. I mean, I also worked in post production, on and off, and production down in L.A. I learned to work on the Avid once upon a time. And I sort of became like a slave at this one place. And they eventually put me on to start working there too. But they taught us because they had a bunch of Avids. It was a post-production editing place. Plus, they had something called telecine at the time. I don't know if do you know what telecine is? Back in the day, again. I, Back in the day, when they were filming, they were using film, right? So they send a negative when they were all cut and everything was ready to go. They send the negative to a place, a telecine place. It wasn't cut. It was the reels that they gave. They send the negatives of each reel, and there was this machine. I think it was a Da Vinci at the time, also, where the guy who had to really be good at this would colorize everything and make a video of it. Okay. And take that video, it would put it onto beta tape, usually for high quality, and we take that and he put it into after it was all done, all the different reels, which I don't know how many reels they had for because this was before it was edited and everything. So you take the reels and they had time code on it. Everything. This is using the Avid. They stick it into a beta machine, right? Which beta recorder, video recorder, and you plug that into the Avid and you digitize that stuff. It has time code on it. So the editor would edit from everything that had been digitized from that. And then they take, and usually it depends on how they want to do this, depending if it's going directly to film, if it's going to go back to film, or whether it's going to go into if they can use the actual beta tapes or whatever high quality tape they were using at the time. And they edit the whole thing in the Avid, and then when they're ready to do it, then they really put it out. They take it and they'd off the timeline they transfer it to a tape as a finished product, or they'd give you a negative cut with the time code kind of thing, so that it go back to whoever cut the actual negative, and they'd use that with the time code reading and cut the negative that way.
What a process! I mean, that's
Once upon a time.
yeah. And here we are today.
It's amazing to have seen it go from this to this to this. My first thing that I saw using electronically is to edit. Some guy had brought in a number. He was working off a number of what do you call it? Video recording machines like that, and he would edit from one machine to another, using it to another to a one main video. I don't know exactly how it worked, but it was pretty amazing looking.
Sounds like a physical job too.
Yeah, it was a hell of a job. It wasn't great. It didn't work great. It didn't start working until they started actually using digital video editing.
Interesting.
Have you ever? I don't know if you've ever edited on film in the first place.
No.
Oh, I mean, when I went through LACC through their film school once upon a time, did 2 years of that, and they used to have, what was it called? On 16 millimeter, you learn to edit on the 16 millimeter. I forget the name of the machine that you sit on a stool and you do that and you edit. They actually had a little thing from Hawaii 5.0 that they had us edit, and it was interesting. And then of course you have the what do you call it, desktop edit? When you put it on the. Do you remember? I can't remember the names of these things now. It's annoying.
Is that where they would splice the film and?
It was this Steamback, I think it was called. But anyway, yeah. Well, yeah, you would splice it on the thing, and splicing was pretty. You have tape and everything. You have something to cut it with. Yeah. And at the same time, though, you have to remember that the sound was recorded on a machine called a Nagra. It was a 1/4 inch electronic tape and they transferred that to a like an actual film thing, so you wouldn't use the original, and it'd be on there.
Oh, interesting.
So you have these two things going on this, I think, Steamback, and so you've got to, first of all, you got to sync them up, and usually the syncing up, remember, that was how you sync it up.
Yeah.
I mean, when they used to shoot, you say they go camera, rolling, sound, speed. Now, do you know what speed meant? Right?
Yeah, cameras are rolling, right?
To the right.
The recorder.
The recorder was up to the right speed. There was like a crystal in there to make sure it was going for the right amount. The right speed was at 24 frames per second.
Say that again. It was a crystal?
I think there was a crystal of some sort that. Don't quote me on that. But you have to look that one.
Okay.
There was a crystal. on the old Nagra machines or something, but it would be synced up,
Yeah.
and you have to have something as a marker usually, like when you either clap your hands like that or you got the thing or something,
We still do that
or
today.
or end slate, you do it that way, but yeah,
So
they still do it.
let me ask you this,
So,
Ira. You were, I mean, working at a corporation
uh-huh.
and you had a stable career. How did that decision to leave that job and go straight in? It sounds like, did you go full in 100% into acting?
The first thing I started, kept the job while I was doing this a little bit. And at some point I said, I'm done. I want to go. I want to go do this. Yeah, I made that decision. I was living in Manhattan with some friends, and I had saved some money. I had a car, which I had this, I'd made some money. I was purposely, I was living up in Rockland County. I was purposely at some point living with my parents at that point. So
Yeah.
making some money. I had a Nissan, was it 280 or something like way back?
A little sport
19,
car.
1977. I picked it out. I loved it. But, I decided to move into the city. I left it there, at their house, and eventually sold it. But yeah, I mean, it was a decision that it finally got to the point, I knew I kind of wanted to do it. But the more I did it, the more I said, I'm done with it. I got to keep going because I didn't want to do what I was doing.
How did that shape your life from then on at that point?
Ooh, lots of ups and downs. There were points, where I've had saved money, and then you had to go out and get a job, a lot of part-time jobs and stuff, and it was. But back in New York, it wasn't. I would not like to live in New York right now. It would be how expensive it is to live, rent. I mean, back then, and we felt at that time when I was an actor back then in New York, I felt like we all felt like we were bohemians.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a nice time. There's a lot of off Broadway plays going, and a lot of people. We show up to auditions. A lot of people, and this is Manhattan. We all get to know each other in a way, and like I said, we do these plays that were like, I worked in a place which was down in the Bowery, for example, down in New York and stuff, not far from CBGB's, and it was, as much as I wanted to do so much more, it was a great time. I wish I did do more. Then we started doing, you start doing films like student films, start doing NYU films. And that was kind of fun. I did a really small part. A friend of mine did the lead in it, and Chaz Palminteri was in it too. A friend of mine, Pat Cooper, was still friends with Chaz. Anyway, it was Ang Lee's 45-minute film at NYU. It was called
It's called what?
Fine, Fine, Line, Line. I don't even know if you can get to see it now. I had ended up taping it off of PBS on TV because it was shown way back. And Chaz played the usual gangster role, goon role. My friend Pat played the lead, and I played this like drug dealer. I had like I said, it was a short part, drug dealer in Washington Square Park. So we would do NYU films, and that was cool. It's fun to do.
What looking back, you said there was a lot of ups and downs. What kept that drive to keep going, pushing forward?
I really don't know. I think part of it is, you think you can do that. You get feedback from people, from like teachers sometimes say, yeah, that's good, whatever. Or sometimes for me, it was always, let me put it this way. My father was a blacksmith, okay, when he was in Russia. Came to America, it's different. But for him, the one thing that he always liked is it's the craft, doing it well. And so I kept pushing to get better, to get craft, to understand it and to feel like I knew what I was doing. And that's part of it. Maybe I couldn't let go of that. I don't know. But at the same time, there's dreams and there's a little bit of insanity, because it's not, you can't really say that somebody's sane to keep going and doing things that you're not getting paid a lot of money for,
Yeah.
and just keep going. Uh, but you have it inside. It's like, why do you do that? What pushes you? I don't know.
Huh.
Uh,
Now you said
uh,
your parents were Holocaust survivors. How did that
yes.
influence your perspective on storytelling and the roles that you choose?
Wow. um, I'm not. I can't say that I'm sure that that had anything to do with it. I mean, uh, a lot of uh, first generation people that from survivors have a lot of issues. I don't know if you know that. A lot of them do. I never felt that I did until I started listening to other people. I said, oh, and then I also started comparing my life to other people's lives. Uh, my parents worked as hard as they could, and they were fine. Now, whether that, going back to your question, whether that really has anything to do with my story making, I don't know. Uh, I can't really. I have written 3 scripts, but I don't know if you
Well, we're eager to kind of hear what those scripts are about. What are the stories based off of on your scripts?
know. Well, the first thing which we actually shot never went anywhere, but we shot it. I directed it, which I wonder why I did that. And I starred in it.
Yeah.
Um, shot it was, by the way, it was one of the first digital. It was on the Canon XL1 camera. Was when I was getting into all the digital things that was first starting out. That one, based on sort of a not quite the same, but on so, my ex-wife and I breaking up kind of thing.
Okay.
So it was a take on that. It wasn't the same, but I wasn't an actor. I was a painter, and it was a little different, but it had some of that involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second one is just kind of just more imagination.
Okay.
The second. And the last one that I've written, which hopefully we're going to do at some point, I'm talking to some people. It's it's just looking for something that I could do, and it's kind of a hitman with humor kind of film. It's called "We're Not in Jersey Anymore."
Nice.
It starts out with these guys in Jersey, and somehow ends up in Olympia.
Oh boy.
And
Yeah.
it's got a little humor. I'm talking. We talking. I was talking to Aaron, and I don't know. We were talking about maybe doing that. I hope so. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging moment in your acting journey and how did you overcome it?
Wow. Yeah.
Welcome to the
Boy, that's a
podcast.
tough. You're making me wow. Most challenging. I. It's all a challenge, so I don't know the answer to that.
Waking up
You
every
know.
day.
Yeah. Well, it's all a challenge just to everything. It's oof. Anytime you do something or you do a play. I was explaining this to somebody who was helping out. Um, did a play recently, and I'm not going to mention the name. You probably know him anyway, but it's okay. And he was asking me some things, and I said, basically, it's hard because anytime you start something like this, you're starting from zero, and eventually it's like giving birth, to a character,
Yeah.
and it takes time, and you have to allow it to happen. So it's all a challenge, I guess. It's all obstacles, things in the way, and how to. I don't think there's one specific thing. Maybe let's see, the biggest, like maybe the 2 biggest challenges. One challenge is, or biggest obstacle was the fact that, like I said, I am an introvert, and let me take this back a little further. So just give you an example. You know what a bar mitzvah is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I was bar mitzvah and being an introvert, when I got up we had to get up and say the Haftorah, they call it, read out of the Torah, this thing that you practice forever just to get it right. And you have to sort of sing it a little bit. And when I got up to do it in rehearsal, in front of like 2 people, 3 people, there was the other guy I was getting bar mitzvah with, the rabbi, my mother was there, and probably the other mother was there. And I started crying while I was doing it because it was hard, but I did it. So what I'm trying to say is that because I'm an introvert, I'm not one of these. I've become more open and can be flashy. It was hard for me to overcome, and sometimes it still is to overcome that. Sometimes to know that you're letting yourself out in front of all these people, even though it's become a thing where, like I said before, is I can do stuff on that stage that I can't do in life.
Yeah.
In life, I have trouble. I've had trouble telling people, emotionally what I'm doing, what's going on. But on stage, I can do that. And that's going away from the opera. Why it was the hardest thing, but that's one thing. And the other thing is dealing with my parents, because, as far as my father was concerned, me being an actor was ridiculous. And my mother wasn't much into it either.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
Has that ever changed over the years?
Well, they're no longer with us, so.
Okay.
But it never did change.
Never did.
No.
Huh?
No.
So that's pretty bad. That's sad because I know that's normal. A lot of people I've interviewed, the parents were not very supportive. I know my parents in the beginning were like, "What?" Until I found out my biological dad was also in the film business, but he never raised me, and I didn't even realize it. But second to none is that, I mean, from one introvert to another, I think I got to wonder, how do you, like, is it easier for you now to go in front of people, in front of a camera, to hit into character, just go at it? Or is it still something?
I think it is, yeah. Because when I started, I was all on nerve. It was all nerves.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot about relaxing.
What-
So it is different.
What about after a shoot? How do you feel after?
It depends on how I felt I did. It's like I was just out in Spokane, right?
Yeah.
Went out. Was it just on the 20th? I flew out there on the 28th, rather, and I was out there for 2 days working on something.
Nice.
A couple of days, and I did the stuff. We shot one day, and then we shot the other stuff on the next day. And on the first day, I was fine. It wasn't a big deal. And the second day, I don't know. It didn't feel right what I was doing. I felt nervous, and I didn't feel focused. And I kept looking for coffee. I didn't have coffee at the time, so I drank some Coca-Cola, which I didn't like.
Oh.
But I just never felt. I mean, I got through it, and I hope it's fine. But I didn't feel like I did what I'm capable of. And there are times, though. That said, there are times where I just felt like I absolutely sucked. And then you see the rushes later or whatever, you see the finished product and say, that wasn't so bad. That was decent. Yeah. So you can't always tell either.
Right.
But back to that, I mean, that's how I felt. Sometimes I feel like, that felt good. And whether I nailed it or not, it doesn't matter. The point is I felt good about that.
After I'm done filming, it's like I have to take a weekend and just do nothing. I'm exhausted.
Well, are you talking about acting or directing?
Both.
Okay.
So it takes a lot out of you. Both of them take a lot out of me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I feel good when I'm acting, most of the
Energize
time.
you. You feel energy. Okay.
I feel better in my life when I'm working.
Yeah.
I do.
Can you share a lesson that you learned from studying the teachers like Adler and Berghoff? Anything that really stood out, that stuck with you?
Well, there was a lot of stuff, so I don't know if I would go into Adler. Let me share some stuff with you. I studied with a guy named Richard Brander, also down in L.A., who He passed away a few years ago, but when I studied with him, eventually I became friends, and he became a mentor to me. And I kept sponging everything I could off of this guy. I would ask him questions and everything. And there's so much that I learned because of that. And I should have gotten some quotes here. There's quotes. I have quotes, but there's a thing that we're always looking to get somewhere, to find, get somewhere, as in when we're acting and stuff. We're looking for the result. And the reality is you have to let go of the result. You have to be. It's like this other thing that I've been talking about to somebody, which came out. This is amazing because it came out. There was a guy when I was in Cincinnati. I got to watch some stuff because I would digitize it. I was doing that for somebody, and he was interviewing some guys at Caltech, and there was an engineer. This guy. So last name was Mead. I don't remember his first name. I think he was involved with the transistor and things like that. He was, but he was an amazing guy. What he would say to his students when they were doing experiments, he'd say, people come in here and they've decided what the experiment is going to tell them, rather than allow the experiment to take you where it wants to go. Now I'm paraphrasing it, but it's my way of seeing it. And that's what it's basically all about. It's like, let the experiment take you where it wants to go. Don't force it to go somewhere and get a result. Because that's what acting is too. Don't try. You try so hard to get somewhere, and result is like objectives and actions, they call them, things like that. If you just there and working off the your partner or anything, or whoever you're working with, and you allow it to take you where it is, the results itself will be amazing. You will be there, and things will be happening. Yeah. And that is the most amazing thing to me.
Yeah, enjoy that journey versus focusing on where you're trying to get to.
And most
soak it up.
If you worked at HB Studio, there's an if you've ever read Uta Hagen's book, for example, right? I don't know if you have, but she has a respect for acting, and she's very technical. She is extremely technical. She was very good, but she was very technical. So you find your objectives and your obstacles and your actions and this, and you write them all down and you figure them out, and you find physical actions and things that you can do. And I learned that because I studied there, and I learned to do that. And I was people would find me very interesting doing little things and doing this, but what you find out is that it takes you away from being in the scene. You're always thinking about what are you going to do and this and that and that. So you got to know what's going on in the scene. You do. You have to understand that, but you have to allow it to happen. You have to be there. It's like be here now. It's the same thing, but be there, be here, and allow it to happen. And that's so much of what acting is about. Now, and listening, it's the same thing. You're listening not just with your ears, but you're listening with your whole body. You're reacting for what is happening to you, and you're letting it affect you. It's like there are thoughts that happen too, and those are allowed. You can have thoughts. It's wonderful.
I think that I didn't even ask you the question of what makes a good actor, but that pretty much answers that question.
Yeah, it's somebody. I've seen some amazing actors on stage. People that blew me away. I mean, I've seen Malkovich. Malkovich on stage is 100% better than he is on film.
Why is that?
He's just his magnetism. It just comes out. It's there. He's so here. He's so right here. I've seen him a couple of times. I saw Death of a Salesman on Broadway with him and Dustin Hoffman. And then in LA, I saw something called Burn This. Okay. I'm sitting in the audience, pretty close. He's not on in the first scene, and the scene's going like this. And second scene, all of a sudden there's this knocking on the door. And the knocking itself is just wakes you up. It's something. He comes in and it was this level, it went all the way up. And it's like he's there. And during intermission, there's two girls behind me. And Malkovich, he's wearing this wig because he's kind of doesn't have a lot of hair. So that makes him look better also. But the two girls behind me, and they said, "Oh my God, he's so hot."
How old was he then?
It was this magnetism he has. It's this just being there.
Seduction.
I've seen people in classes where, you know, they're doing all sorts of stuff and they're not, you know, you listen to them, whatever. And then there are moments where like Richard Brander, my teacher there, for example, he would quiet him down, calm down, and just not try to do something, just be there. And all of a sudden your eyes go, oh, and you're watching them. You know, it's not that you're not doing anything, but you're there. And you're there emotionally. You're there with something going on. Yeah. I mean, I can go on and forever about these things.
Well,
but
let me ask you this: if you said that Malkovich is better on stage than he is in film, do you think film is somewhat muting our performance?
Well, maybe better is not the right word.
Okay,
but it's just what I'm saying is that maybe you just notice so much of it better on stage because it's there.
Yeah,
and Malkovich's quite good on film.
True. I mean, there's on stage there's no cuts. It's a constant flow, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have seen people. I've seen De Niro. I've seen Pacino on stage.
Wow.
I've seen people work. I've seen Hoffman work. I've seen George C. Scott. I've seen Geraldine Page. I've seen number of people. I've seen Kevin Bacon. I've seen let me see. I got some names here. Jack Lemmon, Gary Sinise, Laurie Metcalf, things like that. Colleen Dewhurst. So I've seen a lot of people. You know, when I first started, and I told this to somebody, when I first started acting, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Of course, I was working off energy. And I watched, and once in a while, I see people that were doing stuff that I said, they got the magic. What is that magic? And it took me a while to get there, to understand it.
What is it?
It's not magic. It's just being there.
Being there.
It's allowing yourself to be alive there on stage. It's not that you don't have things going on, like there are things you have to understand the scene, the acting and everything, but you have to be alive within that moment there.
So let me ask you this: in order to get to that process, that point, how do you prepare for a role, and how has your process evolved over time to get to that point of magic?
Boy, that's, you know, when I was a kid, or not a kid, when I was a younger actor, I guess, and I was studying everything, I thought I could tell somebody how to act. I see how all this is. I know what I'm doing. And as I got older, I got to the point where I say, I don't know that I can tell you how to do this, because it is a process. And some people do have that process, have the ability at an early age, but most people don't. And be honest, I mean, I've seen so many people, technically people are doing what they do, and it's great, it's whatever. It's like, they're reading their lines, they're doing this, and they're doing, and especially young actors try to really grasp and get that emotion in and get it in, and they're good. But they're not really allowing it to happen. It's like, I don't know if I could even give you an example. And it's also taking the time. There's another musical quote. I wish I have these quotes somewhere. I wish I could say them to you because they're somewhere on my computer, but that's okay. There's a thing. I don't know if it was some classical composer said it. Basically, it's the art, the pauses between the notes. That's where the art lies. You know, people think we're okay. I'm acting. I'm doing this. Hey, how are you doing? Okay, but no, there's taking the time to as Richard Brandenmeyer, he would say, what do you call it? Silent? I can't remember the exact word, but silent. I don't know. I'm going to send you wrong on that, but let me show you what I'm talking about, rather than talk about it. It's like I'll say, "Hey, how you doing? You doing okay?" Right?
Yeah.
Rather than taking the time to say, "How you doing? You doing okay?" You take those silent moments to fill up, and they're not just silent moments, but they're reacting over what thoughts you have in there. Like maybe I'm saying, maybe I see you as a wonderful, somebody I love, and they say, "Hey, how you doing? Are you doing okay?" Something. It's what
That's
you fill yourself.
subtext. Yeah.
Yeah, you can call it, and it is subtext, but it's the moments between between the notes. It's not the notes that is so important,
Yeah.
and actors want to work on those notes. You got to find out the stuff, and it's not necessarily something you have to work on as a subliminal monologue, but you have to react within the moment. You have to be aware of what's going on with that person, and mostly, and also include what's happening within the circumstances, like not just what's happening between you. Although I will tell you, it's much more interesting to see on screen, to see two people reacting, really reacting off the what's happening in the moment, which has nothing to do with the film. Do you know that? I mean,
Yeah.
so if you can find that within the circumstances and still find that in that, you know, the notes, the as I said, the pauses between the notes, within those pauses, fill those pauses with what's reactions, like, and they're what do you call non-verbal
Yeah. Like
reaction.
your body language. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
eyes. Yep.
Language, but it's not coming just from body. It's coming from what's going on. It's your feeling or hearing or thinking from the other person or from the circumstances. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Doing it
that's what I'm
right
talking
now.
about.
Yeah. When you look at your past and all the characters that you've played, what has been the most memorable role, and how does that stand out? Why does it stand out? And what
Hmm.
was so memorable about it?
You ask tough questions.
Just getting to know you, man.
What?
I'm getting to know you.
Yeah. Getting to know too much. Go away. Look. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, boy. God, I don't know how you pin it down because there's so many things. On, I I was in this play called The Adding Machine years ago, and there was this character. It was a strange. I was the lead of this thing, and on the stage almost all the time, and it was just odd character. I don't know how to describe. I'm not really articulate enough to answer these kind of questions. I do my best. That's why I'm a lousy guest.
Just act it out. Act it out.
Did you ever hear the New York actors doing Shakespeare?
No.
To be or what? That's my joke.
Love it. Love it.
I did see Pacino do Richard III on stage,
Yeah.
and he's got that Bronx accent, and I like Pacino live. I've seen him a few times. I saw some stuff way back when I was younger too, but I saw him do that, and I can't say that was his best work. It was the production wasn't as great either, but I don't know why that was. People talked about different reasons, but
Mm.
yeah. Now I shouldn't be saying this stuff on.
Well, what about you, though? I mean, you've played a number of different roles. We have Sheriff Katz. We have Emmerich.
That's an interesting thing to me. Sheriff Katz blows me away because Aaron asked me to be a sheriff, and never have I ever been asked to be a sheriff, and I never thought I would be. I'm not a tall actor here in the first place, and I always think most times sheriffs being taller and bigger and everything. So that blew away, and it's been fun. I mean, it's been okay. So you asked me about that. I enjoyed it. It was the challenge was believing that I could be a sheriff, which
Convincing
was tough.
yourself.
Yeah, convincing myself.
Did you do anything different to get into the role, to the character?
Um, Probably, but when I work these days, it's a lot more. Most of the time, I don't do unless we're talking about. I don't really didn't have a lot of physicality that was different. So I tried to do a little bit of walk, but that's about it. And but when I work these days, as opposed to when I used to work and try to get all this physical and character, it's more intuitive in terms of you absorb you and you allow it to grow and absorb from what happens. And I don't even know how to explain that one.
Yeah.
Maybe you can understand it.
Do you do
I
that
don't.
through the rehearsal process? Are you going through, and is it just being on set and being in that environment, or are you doing this ahead of time at your
I,
home?
I think it's as you even start to read it, you start to pick up things. You just it's like you just put your body there and you read it and it gets into you. That's what I think. Uh
Yeah.
that's what I do these days. I mean, I used to more like with Uta Hagen's thing. I used to figure out things. I used to figure out also. I don't do that anymore.
You
I
don't.
don't figure. No, I don't figure things out ahead of time. I mean, it's not that I come on and improvise them on set, but well, sometimes you do. You gotta understand is you do all, and in that sense, let me tell you this: when you work as an actor, and they've said this stuff for years, you do whatever preparation you do. You do the work, you learn the lines. When you get in there, once you've given your preparation, whatever it may be, to get into that, to walk into that room or wherever you are, it's all an improv, and it allows it to happen where it's going to go. But yeah, I don't in my work. There are things when I get ready for a role, like I there may be physicalities that I know I've got to get, and I've got to figure that out. But generally speaking, and if you got to get an accent, that's a thing you got to work on. You got to get it, because you certainly want to have it ready so that when it makes it easier if you have the accent, and that's hard to do if you have the time to get the accent first and then start learning the lines. So that's easier.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you could read your lines with the accent, right?
about that. I mean, there was somebody I know who came in with the accent, working on it and stuff before. Yeah, they had these ideas in their head, and you got to be careful about those ideas you have, because sometimes you get them and you get stuck. It becomes a habit and it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
It'll bite you in the butt there. So you want to start off more of a clean slate. There are certain physicalities you're going to have, and the accent it's good to have, but be careful. Have that you can try to have that accent down ahead of time, which is good. But be careful. Don't start learning lines with that accent right off the bat. It's a thin line, because you can get into this, like, maybe you can do a Russian character. I want you to be this way, and you're saying this way, but you're not really even living that. So everybody works that different, and I can't tell you exactly. There are people that memorize the script beforehand. There are people that don't. People that there are professional actors that don't learn the script until they get it. They may have read the script, maybe, and then they get into their RV trailer, and I say, oh, and they learn the lines that morning, and then they're ready to go on. That does happen.
Holy smokes.
I heard something recently, and I won't mention who the actor is, but they said they hired and he came in to work for them, and hadn't even read the script, no plans to do it. He says, I don't do that. They give me cue cards. And this guy's got a name,
Yeah.
and so I won't mention the name. And I was just told that recently, and although a lot of
Right.
actors also that ear thing,
The
which
earwig.
is
Yeah.
where somebody's talking and say, okay, sorry,
Just repeat after me.
yeah. I am a shark. Oh, I'm what? So like you can, but anyway,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, you do have to we do have to understand everybody works differently.
Yeah.
So I say these things. These are things I believe in, and I think they're very helpful. But there are people that it won't work. They don't want to work that way, and maybe it doesn't work for them. So one of the things that has always amazed me as an actor is because I do have I'm not great at it is memorization.
Mm.
That's always been, and that's a thing that everybody works differently with that one. Some people memorize through hearing. Some people see the words on the thing, somebody, and they say there's kinesthetic too, which I think I'm a little kinesthetic. I don't know.
So does it
But,
mean that you go for walks as you're reading your script?
well, that's what they say, but I don't do that. What I mean is like, actually, when I memorize things, I'll read the line and then look away and just or whether I say it out loud or not, and I'll just say it in my mind and go back to it and go to the next, kind of thing like that, and try to add them together. But when they're coming back to me and I'm on set, I've heard people say, yeah, I just see it right in front of me, like just going down a page. When they're on set, they see it.
Wow,
I
that's
said,
awesome.
I wish I could do that.
That's called a
can't do
teleprompter.
Yeah, and to me, it's like I don't know where it comes from. It's inside me. I feel it. I don't know. I can't figure that out. That's one of my biggest amazing questions. If you can figure those things out, correct.
Even
There's a story about Jackie Gleason.
I know the name.
Okay, Jackie Gleason was big time in Hollywood. He had his own show, Jackie Gleason Show. Remember the Honeymooners? Do you ever remember that?
I know the name.
Art Tarney, Jackie Gleason. It was a skit that he used to do on his show. Anyway, they would do that. I don't know how long the thing was. It's very funny stuff to me anyway. The skit, the Honeymooners, and Jackie Gleason didn't like to rehearse, but they would rehearse without him. And he would come in. He hadn't even looked at the script. He'd look at the script, read the script. He said, "Go get on." He had a photographic memory.
Wow.
But there were times, supposedly, when he would forget the line, right? And they know it, and you know it. You watch him. He said, "You know what I'm going to do, Alice? You know what I'm going to do? Yeah. What, Ralph? What are you going to do?" He says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Ralph. Alice, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And then you get the line, and you go back into it.
That's hilarious. So he would just stall, basically.
But he didn't rehearse. He knew the lines. That's just how.
Yeah.
How does someone? Anyway, as I go off, I don't know.
Ira,
Sorry.
let me ask you this. What's a role or project you've always dreamed of doing, and why does it resonate with you?
You ask me questions that I must be so odd because I'm not like everybody else. When I was younger, I had things I wanted to do. I would have loved to do.
Like what?
And now I don't think this way. I just don't even remember what I guess watching all the movies that I watch, any of the movies that I love, I would have loved to have, done On the Waterfront or something like that, Brando's part. I would have, all that stuff. I would have loved to be able to do Streetcar. These are things I will never do, type-wise. I don't know. When I see films, I say, yeah, I'd like to do that, but I can't say there's one that I see. I'm sorry, I'm not the great guest that.
Well, what jumps out at you? If you're presented, like you've played, what do we have? Spaceberg, I Hate Halloween, Dusk to Dusk, Sink, Aggregate, Bad Men from the Melting Moon. What made you go into these films?
Well, these films, I mean, because I can't, most of them I kind of liked what I seen on the script, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Story.
Yeah, the story, the script, the writing. There are, there's a lot of scripts out there. There aren't a lot of good scripts. So you take what you can get most of the time, but you try to go for something that you feel okay about. And I don't know. So that's why plays tend to have, they've been worked on and whatever, but they have a lot of dialogue, and you've got to deal with that. I haven't done a play in, I don't know, many, 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 many years. And I keep thinking I'm going to do it, but there's a lot of work, commitment. That's the word. The word. And then there's a little bit of fear, having not done it in so long. I haven't been on the boards in a while. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's anything I can even think of that can tell you that. I don't know.
What's your
This-
favorite genre?
Probably. Let's see. I like stuff with humor, with little humor. It doesn't have to be straight comedy, but I like drama. Is that dramedy? Is that what it is? Is like a
Dramedy? Yeah.
little bit of humor involved. But I enjoy action films too. I don't really think that, for the most part, I end up in action films, but I enjoy them.
You say you
You know,
don't end up in action
I,
films?
not really, not mostly, yeah. Because I'm not an act. If I played an act, if I'm going to play an action guy, I'm going to be the sidekick probably. Mostly, it's because of the height. I think, that's where I fit in.
How tall are
I'm
you?
going to. I say I'm 5'4".
I'm 5'3".
Are
You can be the lead. I'll be your buddy. I'll be your sidekick.
I say I'm 5'4".
Okay. I got it. All right. We could be twins then.
There
How's
you go.
that?
But yeah, usually somebody in my height will end up being, the sidekick or a bad guy or something like that, or as the sidekick, even the comedy relief.
What do you
Uh,
play more? Do you play an antagonist or a protagonist?
Lately, I think I've been playing sort of antagonist. I think. So here's another thing. When I was younger, I was playing nerdy characters,
Oh,
and as I got older, I got harder looking and everything, and whatever was happening, I'm starting to play harder guys. Like, which is one of the reasons that when I wrote this script I wrote, he's a guy, he's a hitman. He's been around for a while, so it seems like that's where I'm getting more of the attention in that direction.
have you ever played a
Although,
hitman? This is
yes, actually.
for my own reasoning. You have. Okay.
I actually did, but it was a apprentice hitman in a film years and years ago when I was a lot younger.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
Uh,
I'll make a note of it. What advice would you give to aspiring actors about finding their voice and purpose in such a competitive field?
wow.
I mean,
Well,
you had some good pointers today in our interview.
yeah. I hope they were. I hope they helped.
I learned.
Point is, to me, it's about craft. So I'm saying, study, learn the craft. Some people don't have to study. If you're working a lot, that could be, but most of us do. Most of us need some sort of feedback from somebody we trust. So I think that's good. As far as, but it's not. It's not always. If you're gonna make a career out of this, it's not so much. I'm not. I can see it, although I'm not. I don't follow it as enough. You got to hustle, and you got to be. That's the thing about, like they talk about having, as an actor, having tough skin when you're in the business part, and when you're acting, you have to be vulnerable. So you got to have that going.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. As the truth is, to become a working actor, you don't have to be a brilliant actor. We all know that. But you do. But it helps to be able. It helps if you have a little something, a little bit of talent, and maybe even a quality about you that is different, is unique. But you need to hustle, and you need to get to know people, and the more people you know, the better it is, and get out there. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the one who does that, because obviously I'm more of an introvert. But that's what from the outside, I can see that's what you need to do.
When you
I've
say
known.
have a unique quality, what does that mean?
Well, it helps to have a unique quality. It doesn't mean. Let me get to both sides of that first. You can basically be an everyman or whatever, and fit into everything, keep it simple, and not really shine. But people will get, if they've seen you enough, they'll recognize your face, and you'll become something. Now, as far as being unique, it's like maybe there's something about your voice, or maybe there's something unique about how you look. Maybe you look different, or not. Uh, you can be absolutely beautiful, and that's unique, or you can be not beautiful, and that's unique.
So it's out of our control, basically.
I think so. I think the things that, as I said, that are in your control, if you want to you want to look good, if you want to be good and look good, is the things of knowing your craft, knowing the really being in the moments, allowing it to happen. And the whole spiel I gave you about it's the magic is between the notes, basically. It's the reaction and being and allowing. Those things will bring you to life in terms of watching on screen. Is I'm sure you've watched, or anybody, you watch people on screen, right? You see actors and say, yeah, they're doing a good job, they're great. And then somebody comes on, and whatever it is they're doing, you see, you're keeping your eyes on that person. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. And most of the time, it's because they're in that moment and they're reacting off of what's going on there. And another thing, by way of reacting and the magic between the notes, that's where the magic is. The pauses. The pauses between the notes. The thing about, for example, when you got a two shot or you got different shots, you go back and forth. Now somebody's talking, and the camera's on them, but it may be that you need a reaction shot. You want to go to something, and if you got something that's going on while you're listening and reacting to what that other person, they're going to go to you and they're going to catch you on that camera because it brings the scene alive. And also maybe, I remember editing, I had to get a lot of reaction shots because the other actor sucked.
Truth be known.
Now, or somebody's opinion of what sucks and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Goes all over the place. But the reality is those reaction shots bring you alive, and they also give you screen time. If they're reaction shots that you're really listening or you're really there. So that goes with the acting. But that's the thing that basically, and when I watch stuff, when I'm watching a film, right, the things that I watch is, first of all, is the story taking me anywhere where it's going? But at the same time, are the actors, are they believable? Are they catching my attention? And there are too many times I see actors that they're doing the motions, they're doing this, but I don't believe it, and it's not real to me. It's not. I don't know. I can go on and on about that stuff, and I've seen a lot of people. I watch it, and I can see a lot of people, and most people don't know. I've found a lot of people don't see that. I don't know why. They don't see. It's not real. It's not getting my full attention.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's because you have a different perception from in that field. Are you talking to other actors? Are other actors not seeing it?
Yeah. Once in a while, somebody comes up and says, "Yeah, I see what you're doing. That's good." Or whatever. And you tell that. And you see that.
What is the most constructive criticism that you've ever received in your acting career?
There's a lot of ones, but there's one that was real. I have a tendency to, I'm talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody a while back, and one of the things I did a while back when I was, like I said, when I was younger, and I was playing a lot of nerdy characters, they tend to keep their hands like, when you're nerdy, it's like, and I would do this. And my hands were all in here. And this one guy says, if you're going to put your hands out, put them out. Get them out there. And it changed my perspective on that. I didn't, in a way I knew I was doing that, but I didn't realize it.
Oh,
really.
Interesting.
It's a physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched Jack Nicholson on stage, not Jack Nicholson, excuse me, Jack Lemmon on stage years ago. I had like front row seats because I wanted to see him on Broadway. And he was always, his hands were always moving. And then I read that he says, I can't stop my hands. They always move.
And that's just it. That's just. I mean, I think I remember seeing Jack Nicholson in what's that military movie? What's it called?
Oh, you're talking about Jack Nicholson now. I meant to Jack Lemmon.
Oh, Jack Lemmon. Okay. I was trying to imagine Jack Nicholson moving his hands a lot.
But Jack Nicholson was in A Few Good Men, I think you're talking about.
Yes. He was all
Jack
in
Lemmon.
uniform.
Jack Nicholson at first, I meant Jack Lemmon.
Got it.
I'd never seen Nicholson on stage, and I probably hasn't been on stage since he was a beginning actor.
Yeah. Do you have any skills that you fall back on when it comes to your film career? Something that you've learned? Like, I know you worked at a computer corporation. Is there anything else that you've done in your past work
Well,
life?
I've had a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of jobs. Worked in a place that repaired vacuum cleaners in Studio City, California. I vacuum cleaners, and they also worked on sewing machines, which I never learned. I didn't want to. But vacuum cleaners I knew, so I could do that. And skill wise, I don't know. When I was younger, I was able to draw stuff like that. I've been playing guitar for a little while lately, playing electric guitar, so that's been making me happy.
Nice.
You know?
Is that something that you can do in film then too, or is that you ever had to do
If
that?
asked, I'll probably play.
Yeah.
I've never been asked to, but that's okay. I tend to like electric, and like blues kind of stuff and rock. Yeah.
So Ira,
Yeah.
what's next? Anything that you're working on now or the near future?
Well, we're supposed, as the CCC thing, they're supposed to be doing the third part of the Horrorverse. I don't know, is that coming up? Probably towards spring. I don't know, or maybe summer. Going to be doing that. What else? I still would love to do this film that I have. I'm hoping that we can. I was hoping that we're going to get around to doing it this spring. I'm not sure where that lies right now because Aaron was talking about directing it. And,
Yeah.
But don't know because he's got so many things on the slate. Yeah, I mean, and I always consider doing a play. I haven't done one, but anything I try out of it because but if I do that, I'm going to be busy and I won't be able to do something else.
Ira, what's your favorite tech when it comes to the film industry? I know you've been around with the actual film and you've seen production and the film industry change into digital. Is there anything that stood out and you thought that's really cool? Anything that you utilize? Anything that you like?
Well, I mean, once you were able to put it on your computer, it was great. I mean, Final Cut came out and it just blew everything apart, basically.
Yeah.
Of course, Apple has their thing, and I have a Mac, can use that. So just be able to edit stuff on your own computer is just, like I told you, where I started out, watch things happen. That's just, it's amazing. To having
What program do you use to edit now?
just the what is it, the Apple thing on my Mac. It's real simple because I don't do a lot. I just if I edit my demo reel or something, which I haven't done in a while, that's how I did it.
Nice.
That would be the only thing. I was curious as well. How are you going to ask me a tech question when I'm an actor?
Because actors use tech all the time, and filmmakers. I mean, you could be on set and you can see like someone had said the Hollyland video monitors. They really like that. Some people use an app on their phone to read lines to them. Some people cameras, certain lenses, certain audio equipment, certain all that stuff. Lights. Yeah.
I mean, it's look, the fact it's, to me, what's amazing. Look, I've got this iPhone that I'm looking at right now and seeing you, and it's blown me away if I actually take the time to think about it. But it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Now, what about the
Stu-
other side of tech? How do you feel about AI when it comes to film?
I don't know enough about it, and in a way, it scares me because the idea of it taking over and possibly taking jobs away. I don't like it. I mean, they've been talking about it. If you think about on the other end of it, as actors, getting rid of the actor and using all the I don't know, computer animation. I don't know what it is that does that, and it gets real, and it looks pretty real. But as people always say, it has no soul. I've never seen that yet. It may happen, but maybe they'll start stealing souls pretty soon.
I hope not.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man. Well, Mick
Ira,
Jagger,
what is the best way people can reach out to you to get a hold of you?
call me. No, probably through MAM, MAM. That's my agency. It's probably the
Agency.
best way.
All right.
Although I'm on Facebook, and you can look me up.
Right on.
If you're looking to work with me, you can look me up on Facebook. That's one way.
We'll link everything
Yeah.
in the show notes.
Yeah, I hope it went well.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the Downing Cut, Ira.
Thank you, Joe. It's nice to meet you, man.
I appreciate it. Nice to meet you.